Welcome to Tammy Nation. Let's go.
I've been running from 9 to 5, been biting my tongue for all this time. Won't let anyone cut me short. I was thinking this was the way to go, and you put up your puppet show. I say cheers to life. No, I'll be no good man. Just leave me alone. I'm running the show. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud of. No, you better go home.
Good evening, everybody. Happy Thursday evening. It is June 8th, 2023, and I am back again. A lot of stuff breaking in the news again today, so it seems to be like pretty regular for me the last few days, and that's okay. The times are a little different, but once I get it together from work, that's when I put it together and I get on for you guys. But there's a couple things that came out today again that I wanted to put out there like usual and keep you guys appraised of the situation. Hey, Paula, it is good to see you. Welcome. And to those of you watching, I see that there's some of you watching. So welcome to Tammy Nation again tonight, you guys. One of the things actually made me laugh, and a couple things really made me almost cry and angered me, the Instagram story that I'm going to cover for you guys. But I'm going to get started tonight to talk about what's going on. Late last night, Christopher Wray agreed to supply the document that ties Mr. B to a $5 million scheme with a foreign national. So some people were popping off about that information today. So James Comer's plan to hold Ryan contempt was scrapped because just last night we were talking about he was going to hold him in contempt. Well, last night, Ray decided to give up the document. And so what's going on is Lauren Boebert, who is a congresswoman out of Colorado, was on Benny Johnson's show today and was talking about this document. And this document, she said is very damning, that everything on there, it talks in detail about places, times, all that kind of stuff going on with the Mr. B deals, including Burisma, Ukraine, and natural gas. She said that it was the 1023 document that they all looked at, that the three-letter agency that begins with an F said didn't even exist. She said all the information on Hunter laptop is true. The documents, the emails regarding all this stuff is true, and it's in there. And she said it's very damning that basically, you remember Victor Chokin, Biden threatened him, remember to fire the guy or you're not get any cash. And he said that the firing of the special prosecutor that was checking into Hunter and Joey's dealings. So it is in this document that the three-letter agency did not say or said it did not exist. It is in there that $5 million payment was made to Mr. Joey B. So she said they're very damning. She says there are many other documents out as well that they're looking at and stuff like that. She said, but that document is unclassified, but it's still not released, obviously, to the public. She said that they're going over all these, and that actually the sad thing about this is everything is true, unfortunately, and that it's been going on for many, many years. So it's crazy. Jassimo, you know what? Has he been indicted? Because that's my next topic that I was going to talk about as well. So basically, you guys, let's find out what's going to happen with this, because this stuff going on with this documents and the oversight committee looking at it and having it in writing and seeing it now, there's got to be action that takes place. Hey, Kim, it's good to see you. So let's see what happens, because like I said, between yesterday early evening and late night this all flipped out. It was about an hour ago. Okay, so Jassy Mo, see, I was writing this stuff up. So what was going to happen was, it is the Espionage Act. Yes, that's what they were talking about, because it's an act from 1911, this Espionage Act. This is what they want to indict him for. That's what Jassy Mo was saying about an hour ago that they did. So what it is from 1911, and it's before we even had classified documents. And back in the day, that's how they went against Marxists and communists back in the day. So basically, if he's charged and convicted of this, it's going to be considered that T word, and he's not going to be able to run for office. And we've been saying that all along. They're not going to stop. And Mr. T's been saying that all along, that they're not going to stop until they, they're just not going to stop. They want me. They don't want you. They're coming after me. So obviously, if that's what they put into place, that's what they put into place. I haven't seen it. Jassy Mo says that's what it is. But this is also the reason that they are subpoenaing Steve Bannon and Mark Meadows, because how do you eliminate your enemies? You lock them up. They want to get rid of all the MAGA people, all the people that are pro-America in this movement, wanting to get America back, all about disclosure with these politicians and what's going on, all these shenanigans. So basically, they're doing all of this to make him not be able to run for office. And they want to take all the noisemakers down. And that's why they're going off these individual people. Jassy Mo, he has to appear in Miami on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Wow. So we got to keep our eyes peeled, you guys. This is how fast this stuff is happening, because all day today, people were talking about this. And Ted Cruz was making a point today saying that he thought it was going to be an obstruction of justice charge they were going to come after him with, because it was creating a crime of a crime, because they said if they really charge him by having documents in his possession, they're going to have to also charge Mr. B about that, and they don't want that. So like I said, Mr. T made comments earlier today on Truth Social about his feelings about this, and I'm going to read you what he Meadows flipped on DJT. Man, that's too bad. So let's read. Let's backpedal. Let's read here what Donald Trump said today. Actually, it was just before noon. And this is what Mr. T said on his Truth Social. He said, shocking. One of the top prosecutors at the Department of Injustice was reportedly so obsessed with getting Trump that he tried to bribe and intimidate a lawyer representing someone being targeted and harassed to falsely accuse and fabricate a story about President Donald J. Trump, a crime that doesn't exist. This criminal and salacious act from within the DOJ has brought shame and embarrassment to this once great and respected institution. Because of this, there is now extreme turmoil inside the DOJ. A top overzealous and dishonest DOJ prosecutor offered a witness lawyer an important judgeship in the B administration if his client flips on President Trump, who has done nothing wrong. The highly respected lawyer was incensed and disgusted at this corrupt and illegal offer. The fake case against me must immediately be dropped, and the Inspector General should launch an investigation into this and many other too obvious wrongdoings, crimes taking place at the DOJ and the three-letter agency. Well, obviously they didn't listen to that, and here we go. It is also an obstruction of justice charge. Yeah, because that's what they were saying, is they couldn't hold him for those papers in his possession, because then they're going to have to hold Biden hold him accountable for that. So, and we have to remember, hey, Harvest Mary Moon, just a few moments, not much. Jassy Mo is checking us up and catching us up on what's going on with the Mr. T indictment thing. And boy, he's Tuesday at 3 p.m. So we have to keep our eyes on that. And we have to also remember, you guys, as we pull back on all this stuff that's flying around, Chucky Schumer said publicly, remember this from back a couple years ago, he said, we have 7 ways to Sunday to get back at you, warning Trump. And they're saying that a lot of these people that are on the inside are saying that Joe ordered the Mar-a-Lago raid, and Breitbart actually had a story on this exact thing. And then Joe came out in front of the cameras and the people of the nation, this great nation, and lied straight to their face, saying he had no idea. He had zero knowledge that this was happening at Mar-a-Lago. So this is criminal obstruction of everything with a sitting president against a former president. I mean, this is the first time a current president ordered a raid on a former president, and now he said that he's just been indicted. So this is going to be popping like absolutely crazy. And another aspect of this, John Solomon was stating that a president has a right to the documents that they take. There was a ruling in the District Court of Columbia about it. And he said also, if that Justice Department decides to bring forth an indictment against Trump, there's 3 things they have to tackle. And they obviously brought that indictment down. But he said the 3 things that they have to tackle, which makes me think they also did the obstruction of justice, because the initial one that said at the espionage one is probably not going to stick. So they'll go with the obstruction, okay, to penalize him. But if they said what they're going to have to do, the Department of Justice is going to have to do, he said it's not a challengeable in court due to that District Court of Columbia ruling, that they can't bring the charges because of that ruling in the District of Columbia that says a president has a right to decide what documents that they are going to handle. And also there's stories out there that this document, this 1023, was a classified document, and it was not. That Trump used terms like secret. He did not use the word classified. So that story that's floating around there on all these different media places and locations is false, that it was a secret document, top secret. So the other thing that they're going to have to come against is the right that the president has to decide what documents he takes. So they're going to have to go against that District of Columbia ruling. They're going to have to know that the president has the right to decide. So how do they counter that? Because then they're going to have to go after Joey, aren't they? And then also, Trump's team has made a serious allegation, which I read through just a moment ago, but I'll go into further detail here. And they said that the Deputy Attorney General and the Chief Judge of the District Court in Washington is who his team made these serious allegations to. And what that allegation is, the federal prosecutor who is working on the current case made points to a lawyer with a cooperating witness in that case that he knew that the lawyer was up for judgeship. So basically dangling a judgeship with the investigation involving his witness. And that ties into what I just read you that Trump said on his Truth Social. So that coincides together. So they're combating that. And that is a big deal right there. So this can get extremely messy. And there's three thresholds here that they have to get through and tackle to be able to secure this and this to go through. Harvest Mary Moon says they take an oath and their oaths are legal, binding to the Constitution, and the criminal politicians violated their oaths, and politicians know better and does nothing, violated their oaths to us. So we'll have to find out, because I think this is just going to be very messy. It's going to get wild. It's going to get crazy. And obviously it already has if they came through with this. And it's going to be interesting, to say the least. Like I said, it's like rapid fire out there. The other thing I wanted to talk about was this Instagram thing that's circulating, and it just turns my stomach. Wall Street Journal did a story about how Instagram recommends pages to people who like to look at the underage children. And I'm not going to say the words I have to use, but you know what I mean. It's the P word. So this is the story. It's about the algorithms. So what's happening with this story with the Wall Street Journal? They're stating that there's easy access to many pages for people to connect that are interested in seeing this type of content. That Instagram actually connects, promotes, and leads people who like this kind of child content to sites to purchase this stuff. Instagram even suggests different terms that are more friendly or more able to direct you to where you want to be if you want this kind of content. And there's a term that they use. It's INSEST. I'm not going to say it. Toddlers. And it says that word gets recommended to them because they've already had that kind of content that they've viewed. No one at Instagram has designed this. Okay, bye, Jassy Mole. Thanks for stopping by and supplying us with the update. I really appreciate it. It takes all of us to get this stuff up to date and last minute and accurate. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So basically, the no one at Instagram so far that I've seen. This happened today. I just got done putting this story together. So unless something last minute, like an hour ago, like this other thing happened, like Jazzy Mo said, basically nobody's come out against this. Not even Mark Z, who runs the company. Nobody of power has moved on this story. Nobody started an investigation about this story. And apparently, the algorithms of Instagram are very personalized. There's not just one, because we hear about the term algorithm or algorithms. There's multiple. And basically, the person who runs Instagram, his name is Adam Lassery. He said each person likes different things. So our algorithms are extremely personalized. And on his personal Twitter page, it's pinned there that he's actually in a video bragging about how good, hey, Lily J, it's good to see you. How he's bragging that these algorithms will connect you to the exact kind of content you viewed and make it easier for you. So you have to go out there searching. So basically, we know this stuff is taboo, right? But what they're trying to do is normalize all this stuff. Before, we wouldn't be thinking this, saying this out loud. We wouldn't be dealing with this. We wouldn't be seeing it so frequently. And to me, it's just part of the whole different agenda to normalize it, to neutralize it, and make it not so taboo anymore. I mean, when they're using cushier words and you find out that there's a major story out there like this that's not getting any leverage or any footage or any coverage, it's insanity to me. Insanity to me. You know, you can have the DOJ, you can have the three-letter agency with the F, Congress. Nobody is out there of power talking about this. And the worst thing is, this Adam Lassery guy who runs the company still has a job. And where's Mark Z on this? If there's a major story about your company that comes out about child indecent stuff that is affluent on your business social media platform website, it's disgusting. It's really become, Wall Street Journal is saying, it's become the most important platform for networks for the child stuff and the distribution of it. And basically, they have specialized features that connect buyers and sellers. And that about broke my heart. I could not believe when I read that story today. And I'm like, we haven't heard anything about that. And I know there's a lot of stuff going on, but I had said there last night that it seems like we've progressed. There's just different things that have been brought to our minds in the forefront. Okay. And the child stuff, all the different child stuff out there is what they're really seem to be bringing to our attention now. It's getting our attention, but what is being done about it? It seems like it's being ignored by one side, and then these different platforms and different people are trying to throw it out there and expose it. And that ties into what happened today. There was a gay couple that are from West Palm Beach that were on the news, and they were talking about how they were mistreated by Target because while they were shopping for their baby, they wanted to buy a baby a Pride onesie for Pride Month, okay? And the company said that they don't have it, they can't sell it to them. The decision was made supposedly in June, ahead of June, to pull some of the Pride merchandise. And so these people, this couple, were talking about and complaining about how this was so terrible and their rights have been destroyed, and that, you know, what kind of country is this that we should be able to purchase this stuff, and blah, 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 blah. And I thought, if you are that upset because you could not buy something that should be for adults only for a child and infant, it's a onesie, something is really twisted and wrong in America. And then you find a story like this from the Wall Street Journal about Instagram, and how this story talks about all the different ways that these sick, twisted adults have access to innocent children, and they can purchase all these images or videos. It's like, you have to just pray. You have to pray, because it's really, it's dumbfounding to me of how tipped the scale is, right? Hey, Sharon Mercer, it's good to see you again. Supreme Court Harvest Mary Moon says all justices vote is yes, that the can spy on people's bank account. Just read it on Truth. Oh, that's not good either. That's not good. So we keep, like I said, you guys, we keep getting bombarded with all this kind of information and stuff. And it seemed, like I said, but it's always toughest before the end. I think that we just have to have the final push going. We have to stay strong, like I keep saying over and over again. And like I said, these are just different pieces of the puzzle of chaos that's out there that we can put together to share with people that maybe thought we were crazy or don't believe it, or are one-sided, especially the B people, that family. This came out today, and you can't argue a document, and you can't argue that our government that's supposed to protect us and save us said it didn't even exist, and now the evidence in it is extremely damning. So I'm waiting to hear what's going to come out of that the next day or two as well. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was it says, when Arnie says there's no heaven, moving on to the next item here, is, if you guys haven't seen this, Breitbart had a story out that Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, calls heaven a fantasy. He says we don't see each other again after we're gone. So Arnold says that he believes there's no difference between heaven and hell because both of them are simply fantasies. So in his mind, once we die, that's the end. There's no afterlife. And anyone that tells you something else is an effing liar. So he was talking about his personal faith to Danny DeVito during an interview. It was an interview for Interview Magazine, and they were having this conversation. So Arnie continues to go on and say, it reminds me of Howard Stern's question to me. When Howard said, tell me, Governor, what happens to us when we die? I said, nothing. You're 6 feet under. Anyone that tells you something else is an effing liar. And I said, we don't know what happens with the soul and all its spiritual stuff that I'm not an expert in, but I know that the body, as we see each other now, will never see each other again like that. So Arnie went further and said that he believes the topic of death is uncomfortable, but he said that heaven in his mind is a fantasy. So he says, when people talk about, I will see them again in heaven, it sounds so good, but the reality is that we don't see each other again after we're gone. And that's the sad part. I know people feel comfortable with death, but I don't. Well, I wonder why. He's not had a great history. We all know what happened when he was married to Maria and the housekeeper and stuff. And I'm not saying people don't make mistakes, but if you have a pattern of behavior and then you come out publicly saying there is nothing after death, you don't know that for sure. You can't make that statement for sure. And, if you read your Bible, you know that there is. So he's basically saying that Jesus didn't die for our sins either. And Jesus didn't save us. So it's just another letdown with a celebrity that people look up to from his bodybuilding days. I know there's a lot of people that still follow his videos and still love that that he was this great bodybuilder and stuff. And, he has gyms and all that around. But now it bears into question, what are your morals and values? Are you still going to want to support somebody that says, you know what, there's nothing to it. You're living in a fantasy. It's not even like he's saying, I don't believe in it, but I'll keep researching it. He's knocking all of us that believe in this stuff. He's knocking all of us that have faith and believe in it, saying that we are living in a fantasy. And that's kind of ironic for a man who had a career for a period of time as the Terminator, living in fantasy and making millions and millions of dollars at it. So that really bothered me, that he would come out and just be so reckless in his wording, because I've said it before, these people who have major platforms, who have major influence on the things they say and the things they do, have a big responsibility to be fair and just in what they have to share with the people that follow them, because people are easily influenced by them. He has a right to how he feels, but he doesn't have a right to tell us that we're and living in a fantasy land for what we believe, in essence. It's just very rough. He's a moron anyway. And, Harvest Mary Moon says an atheist was dying. She was screaming. Her legs were on fire. I saw it. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Well, you guys, when you stop and think, no matter what your belief is, it has to be something. There was no way to make sense out of life on this earth and the things that happen to people. Whether you're young and something bad happens, there's bad things that happen to everybody. Is that just coincidence? I just feel that you have to be so lost or so afraid or so egotistical not to try to figure out that there's more to life, that we don't know it all. We are not geniuses. There are people that have genius aspects, yes, but if you go to the science of it, we only even use a small portion of our brains. We don't even use our full brains. Can you imagine the knowledge and the power we would have if we used them? If we were able to figure out how to use them all, how to activate them all, I mean, the whole thing. So, I just say pray for him because, like I said, I can't even imagine not having anything to hope for, anything to have faith in, anything to give you strength, because we know that people can't do it for us. We know that we can't do it for ourselves. We're not made to do it for ourselves. We get exhausted every day. They're to have somebody that is so dark and so egotistical to be able to say that is, and there's a lot of them out there. And, I'd like to know what are his views about these people. If he thinks heaven and hell are fantasy, these people that are doing these different bad rituals and stuff, is he just laughing it off and saying, well, it's theater, it's creativity, it's creative of mind, it doesn't represent anything? Well, you can look back on ancient things. You can look at the different drawings on cave drawings. You can look at the different literature. You can look at different sculptures. If you go into a little bit of history, you can find things that actually counter what Arnie had to say. So it's not just the Bible, but the Bible is everything to me. It's the living word of God. So he can go other places to find out some information. Maybe go and walk the steps that Jesus walked, and for his 12 steps there in Jerusalem, and see if he feels differently, because to deny it without knowledge of it is to me insanity. So I don't know. And then the other thing, what'd you say, Harvest Mary Moon? Ask a non-believer to disapprove heaven and God, and 100% of the time they cannot. That's true. That's true. There was somebody that it was like a scientist guy that made this drawing, and it was a simple drawing we could all relate to, and it was like a circle. Okay. And he said, so this is the world we live on, this little circle, right? And then on the rest of the billboard or the big page, it was massive. He said, this is space. This is things that we don't know about, that we can't see. That's out there, that we know is out there. There's stuff out there. We just don't know what it is, right? So we live on this little planet and this little piece of space. And then and he put the little dot in it, and he says, this is about how much knowledge we have compared to the whole universe. And it's like one little dot in the center of that little circle. So he said, if you're egotistical enough to believe there is nothing outside of your circle, or that your little dot inside the circle has knowledge of everything, then you're fooling yourself, because there's so much more to learn. Hey, Shane, it's good to see you again. Yes, they are. Absolutely, 100%. So I thought that was a pretty simple way to say, well, if we don't know it's out there, how do we know that the man above doesn't live out there? Because we can't see out there. We live in one little speck of one little ball of one little part of the universe. So it was just a very simpleton way of saying, you know what, we don't know all, and we just got to keep investigating, and we have to find our faith somewhere, and it's certainly not in the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, because he can't do anything for me. Jesus Christ is the only thing that can save me and do anything for me. So, like I said, there's been many celebrities, so-called social influencers and celebrities out there that are obviously God, and they are the Satanists, that, as Shane says, and you see it in the worship and the things they wear, the things they say, the things they do. So Arnold, if it's not real, why is there good and bad? Can you explain away why good things happen to bad people, et cetera, et cetera? Because sometimes we can't even make sense out of it. Going to scripture is the only thing that helps us deal with it, because it's the superpower of the Holy Spirit that's provided in us through Jesus Christ, that we're able to function, because this world is crazy. It is a Twilight Zone, and it is a clown world out there. It's incredible. Also, I wanted to cover for a moment the wildfires, you guys, because I hadn't talked about that. That started in Canada and stuff. There actually is a map out there, and it's on the New York Times, believe it or not. But there is some relief apparently in sight. They're saying that the wildfires, they are continuing to burn and polluting into the US. But they said that the worst appears along the mid-Atlantic because 2 days they had smoke and blotted out the sun, and a bad smell hung in the air. But they said that a new computer model showed that the poor air quality peaked in some major metro areas. Conditions have been steadily improving in New York, Philadelphia, DC, and elsewhere, because I know there was talk about this is their new thing to do. It's created so we can have those uh, stay-at-home things going on temporarily, and cancel outdoor activities, obviously, in New Jersey. New York City announced it was going to hold classes remotely on Friday. And there's still a pocket of heavy smoke. It's called high, actually, just northeast of Virginia. I think it's p.m. Or 8 p.m. Friday is supposed to go into a mild. Now, there is smoke coverage that goes across Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, all the way down to Louisiana, Arkansas, all across smoke, that everything is actually clearing up, cleaning up. It's not staying as bad as maybe initially thought. So I know that I've seen a lot of the satellite images were just incredible how blurred out everything was. And I know on social medias, there were a lot of posts of incredible pictures of the sun kind of blotted out, and the incredible look of it, and things were just like you couldn't see. So it's Philadelphia's public schools are going to shift to remote learning on Friday as well. So basically, it's going to be remote school. Indoor graduation ceremonies, they're going to getting somewhat. So that is good news, because I know that for a while people thought it was just another excuse to, like I said, lock us down in our homes and stuff again, and to create another scare tactic, which I'm hoping that it didn't reignite that fear factor, and some of the people that are unfortunately still upset from what has happened over the last 3 years, the first go around with, that made us stay at home. So I hope they don't have the doom and gloom and, oh, this is the end, look at the smoke and look at what's happening, and there are different theories, because I saw, and I'm just saying what the theories are that I've heard two different ones. I heard that all of it happened at once, like there were just different beams that happened at once, okay, that came down off of what, and it was the people doing it, and I don't want to say the words because then it goes into conspiracy, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And then I heard too, because there was regulations that they weren't able to maintain the forest and stuff, that they limited them from doing that. And if you don't take care of the brush and the trees and you tend to these, then wildfires are more easily started, because there's a lot of brush and debris and dead trees or whatever that easily ignite. So if you aren't allowed to maintain it, then they're going to more easily catch on fire and spread quickly, especially if there's winds and stuff. So like I said, I'm no expert on this. Those are just the two things that I've seen and heard, and I'm just really happy that it is dissipating. And it was scary. Some of the pictures and images were very scary, and there was a weird smell. I think that's going to happen with that, because of all the different things that are burning. So you're going to get that, definitely. But anyhow, those are my stories for tonight, you guys. And I think it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. It's Mr. T at it again. We're going to see how the Biden administration and the Biden family reacts to the oversight committee. looking at all this document, this 1023, and seeing all the details that are in there about the $5 million payment to Mr. Joe. And then we've got Instagram to see if Mark Z or the guy that runs it, Adam, comes out and talks about the different things that the Wall Street Journal has found out, because these are the three major things, Trump and the children. And I've said all along that the children is what I'm here for. That's my passion. All this other stuff too, but really with the children. And I was just infuriated when I found this. I don't have Instagram. I'm very low on my social medias. Actually, it's basically Twitter, Truth Social, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. That's it for me. But I do have a friend that has all these, and she fills me in on what's going on and stuff. So, investigating Instagram when it seems like it's such an innocent, easy platform. It's another thing that people can just have fun at, that turns dark and ugly like this. And for it to be the major go-to to be able to sell and buy stuff like that, it just horrified me. It seems like it would be insignificant in my eyes. And here it is the major platform that this stuff is happening on. So that kind of is disturbing to me. Peat moss burning. It has a sour burnt smell. Really, Harvest Mary Moon. Ugh, that doesn't sound good to me at all. Well, if you look at that, you guys, it's on, where is this at? That I have this pulled up. It is the New York Times. If you go there, and it's wildfire smoke, and it's got the updates. Now this stuff has just been updated. It's like a live little thing. This app that just stuff. It's very interesting to watch. You can control what you're seeing, and it's very very interesting, because it's just from two quality from day. So like I said, I don't see a recent image of it on here, but it's just, I think live maps like that, and to be able to actually see for yourself instead of taking like a reporter's word for it, or just seeing typed up stuff, stories on it, to actually be able to see a satellite map of what's really going on. It's pretty cool. That's the part of technology that I love, when it can be utilized for things like that. It's pretty amazing. Let me see. Harvest Mary Moon said it was the children that woke me up, and it will be the children that will finally be free at the end. Absolutely. Amen to that, Mary Moon. You know what? That's what happened to me too. I mean, when I first discovered all this, when I started venturing down the so-called rabbit hole that I was in for a couple years, it was from Lynn Wood, the Georgia lawyer here that moved to the Carolinas. When he had was it Telegram? I think it was Telegram. I joined Telegram for a short period of time and started following him. And he started putting all this information out there. And it horrified me when it was documentation about the different things that they use for the children. When children are listed as an item for purchase with the age, nationality, sex of male or female, and all that kind of thing, and where they are held at, that brought me to my knees, because I was very naive to it. I never knew anything about that. I guess I was sheltered. When the milk carton thing came out, I thought that, gosh, this is a great, wonderful thing to help find the lost children. I thought that was a brilliant idea. Little did I know it was used for deeper, darker things. And what really started to wake me up, and I thought was kind of bizarre to me, but it wasn't enough to get me researching, was when all that went down with the innocent boys and Catholicism, and what happened with that when it came out, what happened to those boys. And it came out, and then it kind of was buried. And then the people that were involved kind of got moved around. Nobody got punished, investigated, went to jail. They just kind of situated them around to different locations. And then I started researching more. And then, like I said, Lynn Wood brought all that to my attention. And it was so horrifying to me for a long time. I couldn't look at it. I had to stop looking at it, and I just couldn't take it. I just thought, oh my gosh. And then I snapped out of it. I just kept praying, and I thought, well, if I can't look at it, then I'm not going to be able to help expose it, solve anything. I can't spread the word. I have to buck up. So I just prayed to God, and I said, please give me the strength to be able to speak out against this and make sure that the stuff that I report or talk about is true, because I would never in a million years want to accuse anybody of wrongdoing of that nature if they didn't do it. I wouldn't want to put that out there in the world that this is happening if it wasn't, because God always says the children are innocent. He said, if you want to stay close to my heart, keep the innocence of a child within ourselves, keep the spirit of a child. And I've seen some videos recently, and there's been dispute, and I'll try to briefly describe it. So there was this tub. Well, it was a tub. It was like a just big square tub full of water. And there were some people that were of Asian descent, and there were little babies in there, and they were washing them. And it's been spread around the internet that these babies were being bought, sold, and used for consumption. And then somebody else on the internet was saying, no, this is a ritual, a respectful ritual that they're performing for the babies who have passed over, that they're cleaning them and they're going to have a burial ritual. So when you watch this feed and you go into this feed after seeing this video and you look at all the comments, and then people have links to the different things they're talking about, I really am confused about that, because for one, some of these videos are blurry, which gives me suspicion. However, if you can't really go in there with HD and all the equipment when you're exposing something like that, right? Because then they'll just off you. So, probably a lot of them are going to be blurry, but I know people always make a joke. Why is it so blurry? These videos so blurry. Sometimes I understand why. But then again, if it really is customary to do, and it was a kind, gentle thing that they were doing for babies that have passed on, then I surely wouldn't want to accuse them of not. But unfortunately, people out there will do what they have to do to get likes, to get followings, to create drama, to be the one who breaks a certain story, whether it's true or not. They don't have any morals or values. So that's where I say you have to use discretion and you have to be very careful. But like I said, the other stuff that has times and dates on it, I remember seeing the videos that were dark videos where it showed green because it was night vision, with military going into these different underground tunnels and stuff and coming out with different people, let's just say. So there's that, I cannot believe that all of this information that's out there would be staged and would be false. I do believe where there's smoke, that there's fire. So I do believe that there is a very hidden, deep, dark ritual thing, kind of people that goes on in this world that people like me were very naive to for a very long time. But now I'm not so naive anymore. And now it almost seems like it's out there in the light even more, with a lot of these people that are allowing their children to become opposite sex than what they were born of. And I don't even need to go down there, but we've seen how these different celebrities have embrace that with their children. And it seems like there's a whole heck of a lot more out there, and it's building, because I believe these children are being shown that and taught that. And I said the other night, without being repetitive, that they are just desensitizing these boys and girls and making them feel the norm. If you're the norm and you feel like you're male or female, that you are the abnormal one, that the normal out there is the ones that look different and dress different and are a different sex or whatever. That if you just are a boy that feels like a boy, something is wrong with you. And that's where it gets sad, and that's where it gets worrisome, because it is such a broad scale of what they are doing to these children. So I just pray about it. Like I said, Linwood had a bunch on this a very long time ago. It seems like that was part of his forte at the beginning. And, he went through a lot of stuff here in Georgia. And that's why he left Georgia and went to the Carolinas where he's at. People have said good and bad things about him too. It seems like everything out there, everyone that's out there has been attacked. It's not like they haven't been attacked or their past mistakes have been brought to the forefront. Well, that's what they do. They try to take everybody down. They want to make us feel defeated and make us give up. But when you look at the eyes of innocent children and you look at how many are waiting to have homes or waiting to have good families, yet they're taking care of outsiders from outside this country and leaving our own citizens, whether they're adults or children, to fend for themselves. That's a real problem. And that's where the fight kicks in, because then you kick into all the mama bears out there that are like, wait a minute, you're messing with all the women that, were just, have raising their families, helping out at churches, helping out at schools, just living their lives, minding their business, being good family members, raising grandchildren, etc. And then you start messing with the school system and what you're polluting their minds with. And then they start seeing the visuals out there that what these kids have to look up to, what they're reading and inputting, even what's going in their bodies with all this processed food and stuff. And you know what? Women and men aren't stupid. They're going to start that whole antenna goes up and they're going to say, what the heck are you doing? And then they're going to start fighting back. So I'm in it to win it for these children, no matter what it takes, because as part of humanity and humanitarians, that's the least we can do. Our time here, as we're getting older, is even shorter, right? It keeps getting short and short, but that doesn't mean we can't fight. We have wisdom. We may not have, youth, but we do have wisdom. And I think that's what it's going to take. We're going to have to really work together to unprogram a lot of this thinking in these children. And when stuff comes out, because I believe it's all going to be exposed and it's going to be undeniable, just like all these documents against the Biden family and stuff. It starts off as a conspiracy and, oh, it's not as bad as you think. And, oh, that's not true, to becoming truth and validated through documentation. So our videos or people saying it out of their own words. You look at some of that stuff that came out on Hunter's laptop. That you can't make that up. That's not a lie. With the underage children, that whole family, the stuff that they have done, and we're just discovering it. This has been going on for a very long time. How many other families out there in power have similar kind of things that they've hidden? It's a whole network of people. It's not like it's just one family can get away with doing this. All these people that are into this kind of stuff support each other and they keep it quiet. They're not going to expose one family unless that family says they're going to expose them, and then they'll all team up against them. So what I'm saying, I guess the bottom line is the good has to outweigh and outlast the bad, because I will not settle for anything less than these kids having a normal, functional, wonderful life. They shouldn't have to be worrying about these surgeries or what kind of identity they have. And I think that's BS that they all of a sudden, because it's acceptable now, supposedly it's not taboo and it's the norm, that a lot more kids are coming out saying that they're confused. No, that's conditioning. That's conditioning. And one last little tidbit, because of course my mind got working and I said that was it. Then I got rolling on this kid stuff. But a little interesting thing on the mindset of some of these people who are trans. I have an acquaintance through a friend that was male and trans to female. This person's been working on this for many years. Sold everything to be able to afford the surgeries to become female. And it was so this male could compete in female sports. And as he travels around this country competing in female sports, he's really not doing as good as he thought he was going to be doing. And he's angry. And for a while there, he was wearing a lot of makeup and trying to look feminine, doing nails and all that stuff. And now anymore, he could care less. He says, I identify with a woman. I've got a fake chest now, so I am a woman. I don't have to wear makeup and all that, because whatever he was searching for as a female has not come to fruition, whether he wasn't as good at male sports as he wanted to be, so he thought he'd dominate the female sport that he partakes in. I don't know. But the thing is, he's always angry. He's always feeling that he's everything's unjust that happens to him, which he's a she now, but I still call him a him. So it got to the point that every time he would talk about anything, it was about all the wrongs against him. He also has stuffed animals that he travels around with that are companions because of, I guess, different insecurities and stuff that he may have. And I find that pretty interesting, because if you put yourself out there from a man to a female and that's supposed to make you all better, I don't think you need support animals to travel with. To me, that's some kind of mental issue that needs to be addressed. And I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm not trying to make fun of it. I do have concern because I think there's plenty other people out there that are in the same kind of mental shape that he is, and that he's angry. I've said before, not so many of these people seem happy-go-lucky. Everything is aggressive and mean, and we can do what we want, and blah, blah, blah. There's no peace of mind, it seems, in these people. Well, the final straw on that is he posted on his social media that he's going to run for presidency in 2024, because he believes that there's nobody out there that can do the job that he can do as a trans person. And he's actually filing, well, it's a she, the paperwork to be able to do that. And while I believe that people can pretty much do anything in this world that they want if they believe in themselves and they take the right path to do it, I don't know how this man made the jump from male to female to wanting to be the president of the United States. I don't get it. There's no experience, no nothing. There's been never been research. There's never been being amongst people like that. I know Donald Trump was just a man, and Ronald Reagan was just an actor, and they weren't involved in politics per se. But when there's somebody that is an angry person, even though they could financially afford everything they've ever wanted to become, and they still aren't happy, and they think they can apply for the president of the United States to be happy, I think that's an issue. That's an issue. So I just don't find very good stories about trans people. I feel that they are angry and upset, and they want to be accepted, but they really don't even know accepted for what. They say for who we are, but they don't even know who they are. And that's incredible to me. Harvest, some are born with extra and some are born, yes. Gender is the mind, mental mind, yes. I don't know, Harvest, I know. It's very complicated when something like that happens, and I am not a doctor or an expert, but I just know when there's a rise of those kind of people in this world now, and this world is promoting it, and these major companies are force feeding us this, it's an issue for me. I mean, and we all know that there's different mental illnesses and different mental issues all the way across the board that force us, or we choose to, but we end up in addictions over it because we don't have it resolved or fixed. And I firmly believe that the majority of people, it's programmed into them, it's conditioning. I cannot believe that there's that many people out there that, I mean, no. But that's just my opinion, and everybody has an opinion. I could very well be wrong. I'm just saying, in my experience of the people I've run across, the stories I've seen, the articles I've read, I haven't seen yet a story on a peaceful, quiet, happy family in the trans part of it at all. And you've even got people that were so-called celebrities that came out talking about how they were forced into it for money through the parents, how they're not happy, they didn't really want to do it, they were undecisive, but they went through with it anyways. And we just have a big issue in this country that we're going to be dealing with down the road. I am convinced that we will see some not so good results out of being changed from one sex to another and fed drugs that we don't know how are going to affect us in the long run. Because anything that's unnatural in the body starts rejecting, and we know that. We have to be very careful what we put in our bodies, but I believe we also have to be very careful what we put in our minds. So with that, you guys, I'm going to end it on that note. Thank you all for joining me again this evening. A lot to cover, and I'm looking forward to see what happens on Tuesday, and I know you guys are too. But until then, I hope you have a great rest of your evening, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Love you. God bless, and stay safe, you guys. Bye.